guys, Manny, Carrera, your real estate resource. We're about to record episode number 2 of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions in front of Vitola's in downtown El Paso, in front of Chihuahua Stadium right over here. One of the biggest attractions to hit downtown. And getting ready for this podcast, it's going to be a really good podcast. We're actually going to be interviewing the owner of Vitola's, whiskey, cigars, entrepreneurship, and overcoming obstacles. I'm excited for you guys to see it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let's get to meet the owner. What's up, guys? Manny Carrera, your real estate resource, and this is episode number 2 of Whiskey Wednesday podcast sessions, where we talk to business owners, influencers, shapeshifters, and movers over a glass of some fine whiskey. In today's episode, we're going to be talking cigars, whiskey, entrepreneurship, and overcoming obstacles. Today's guest is Fernando Gandara, owner of Vitola's here in downtown El Paso, across of Chihuahua Stadium. Fernando,
how you doing?
welcome, brother. Thank you for being on.
Welcome to Vitola's. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start, Fernando, with you telling us a little bit about yourself. Before you give us a tour of your beautiful establishment, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Vitola.
Thank you. Well, my name is Fernando Gandara, born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I haven't been banished yet, so I'm still here. I'm one of the owners of Vitola's. It is a family-owned operation. I've got my mom and dad are also partial owners. In fact, my mom is La Presidente,
Nice.
so everything's got to go through her. But we've been here since the winter of 2016. December 1st, 2016 was our first day. So we've got about a year and a quarter under our belts here. A lot of growth, a lot of challenges. We love being downtown. We love the people that are drawn to here, and we love talking about whiskey and cigars, of course. So come on in, join us. I'll show you around the humidor.
Cool. So Fernando, right now, he's going to give us a little tour of Vitola's and tell us a little bit about what it's about. So let's come on in and check out this.
Initially, when you first walk into a walk-in humidor like this one, the first thing that hits you is the aroma.
Yeah.
All right, and that
smells
in part,
delicious.
Yeah, in part because of the tobacco, but it has a lot to do with the specific kind of wood that lines the walls in here, and that's Spanish cedar. And Spanish cedar is preferred for humidors for a couple of reasons. One, it's naturally antifungal, and since you're in a room that has a higher than normal level of humidity, an antifungal property comes in really handy.
Right.
Also, the aroma itself, it pairs well with the cigars,
Yeah.
and it kind of lends, it adds to the experience of being in here. You smell that cedar, you know you're in a well-kept humidor.
This smells delicious. For those of you watching or listening, I wish Apple or YouTube came up with a option to scratch and sniff, because the smell in here is actually really good. It smells actually very earthy. Even though it's a cigar, it smells very earthy. You get that smell of some good wood. So
Yeah,
I really like it.
It's earthy, it's aromatic, and it's even better. In fact, if you burn a little piece of Spanish cedar, you'll see that aroma is distinct, and it's beautiful.
Wow.
So we've got, I think right now we've got over 100 different cigars to choose from, which is a big statement for me, because when we bought the place, there were maybe 18 cigars to choose from. So it's taken a lot of growth, and it's happened slowly, but we're making our way up. We're still not as full as we'd like to be, but we're getting there little by little, and it's been a lot of fun.
Cool. Where are these cigars from? What's the origin of these cigars?
So from all over the place, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic.
Nice.
Those two countries are probably going to make up the majority of the tobacco in here. But there are even, there's a lot of wrapper leaf out of Mexico, for example. The San Andres Valley in Mexico that have been producing some beautiful wrapper leaf. And a lot of the very highly rated cigars are featuring a Mexican San Andres wrapper.
Wow.
So that's really cool, because it seems like that's something doesn't go back very far in history.
Right.
Mexico is making a lot of noise right now. It's great.
That's good. Representing.
Yeah.
Representing for the border city. That's cool.
But you've also got a lot of tobacco from Ecuador, for example, And the majority of the cigars that are in here are going to be blends of tobaccos from different regions.
Okay.
There are some countries that still focus, in my opinion, too much on making what they call a puro. I know a cigar is called a puro, but when you have a cigar that is a Nicaraguan puro, for example, that means that cigar is made only with Nicaraguan tobacco. And sometimes it works out really well, but I think the manufacturers have come to realize that when you're rolling a cigar, you're coming up with a blend for flavor, then you're going to get the best tobacco you can no matter where it's from.
Yeah, so they're combining from wherever they need to make that mix.
Yep,
That's
absolutely.
crazy. I had no idea. And I've actually, I lived out in Florida, and it's funny because going to even South Beach, you would see a lot of older gentlemen with a table set up, rolling hand-rolled cigars there,
Yeah.
and they're selling them for $5-10 a pop. But I know, and I'm sure a lot of people don't understand how hard or the process of rolling a cigar, right? So what is that process like? Are you familiar with that process?
Yeah, by the time you're smoking a cigar, a couple of things have happened, right? First, you've had up to 100 different pairs of hands involved in the process.
That's a lot of hands.
Getting it into this humidor.
Yeah.
It's a very labor-intensive process.
Right.
And it's a very high-risk process. There's so much involved just from the seedling itself. Like, the weather's got to be right. You can have too much rain. I think the best thing to compare it to is red wine.
Okay.
You can have a bottle of wine from a certain vineyard 1 year, and you can have the same bottle of wine 2 or 3 years later from the same vineyard and everything, and it will not taste the same.
Right.
And there are even times when it's a negative. It tastes significantly worse, and that can have a lot to do with weather, and you can't control the weather. So there is a risk involved in making cigars. There's a ton of work, and there's a lot of time. It takes patience because it's not something that you cultivate and you roll it into a cigar, with a machine, and it's ready to sell.
It's not a joint.
Yeah,
right? It's not a joint, guys. It's not as easy as smoking a joint.
Don't inhale it and don't hot box.
Don't
find cigar.
You're gonna throw up for sure. I actually have a really funny story that I'm gonna share when we get upstairs about my first cigar experience, and then you can share yours as well. But
by the time, so after it's been harvested, which is a complex process in itself, you still have to air cure the tobacco, which takes time, and that's how the leaves go from green to brown. With the air curing, it starts to kind of release some of that chlorophyll and some of that ammonia and stuff.
So these leaves start off green.
Yeah, like any other leaf.
It's an actual leaf. I'm thinking the tobacco leaf is actually brown already.
No, it's a green leaf.
Crazy.
There's a lot of chlorophyll in it, and they've got to get some of that out because chlorophyll itself tastes kind of bitter.
Yeah.
It's got a really grassy flavor to it. So there's air curing. You've got to cure the tobacco. Then you have to ferment the tobacco, which can take a long time.
Right.
And everybody kind of does it their own way and for different periods of time.
Okay.
In fact, one of the things that distinguishes a Maduro wrapper from a natural wrapper is just the extent and the time spent in fermentation and aging.
Wow.
So the cigar leaf, under normal conditions, will get darker with time and with extra fermentation.
That was my next question for you. I'm looking at 2 cigars, and we have here the Muwat.
Muwat stands for My Uzi Weighs a Ton.
This is a big cigar. This is a really big cigar. Nothing unfamiliar as far as size, but big cigar. And then we have over here, we got the Hoya.
The Hoya Cabineta, which actually has a double wrapper. And in fact, this might be a good one for you to show both points. You have 2 different kinds of wrapper. You can see that this part of it is light in color, and this part of it is much darker.
Which is one of my questions. Comparing these 2 cigars, obviously in size they differ, but as far as color, what could you say as far as the color of the leaf? Is that come down to like an age thing, or what does that come down to?
It can, if it's a Maduro, because, for example, this wrapper being darker, I can't assume that it's a Maduro wrapper because there are some hybrids of tobacco that just naturally after typical curing and typical fermentation are darker than some other hybrid will be after the same fermentation and curing.
Okay.
Mexican San Andres tobacco tends to be a little darker naturally, even without going through the process of making it a maduro.
Okay.
So there's not a whole lot, and there are a lot of misconceptions about the color of a cigar. A lot of people assume, for example, that
the strong.
darker
I
cigar
thought the
is a
stronger,
cigar.
because that's what kind of you go off of when it comes down to like beers. You know?
Right.
Darker, it's like, oh, you know what? That's gonna kind of fuck me up.
And even with beer, sometimes you can have a beer that is darker that's very light in body.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Negra Modelo comes to mind.
I tried that.
Darker beer, but it's not a real heavy beer.
I got angels running away, I got demons hunting me. I know Pop with 25, I know Jesus 33. I tell death to keep a distance, I think he obsessed with me. I say God, that's a one, I know she would die for me. They won't
Owner of Vitola's, Fernando Gandera. So if you guys have any questions for Fernando, for us to cover, go ahead and ask now. But we're doing our podcast right now, so we're getting into, you know, kind of the gist of your business and a little bit about Fernando. Now, for the viewers and for everybody listening on the podcast, we obviously, you know, Vitola sounds like a great place. Hopefully a lot of you guys do end up, you know, swinging by and checking it out, meeting Fernando. He's usually here all the time. We actually got him in on his day off, so appreciate you coming by. But to kind of, you know, switch gears a little bit, talking a little bit about you. You know, what are, as a business owner, you know, what are some of the biggest obstacles that you've had to overcome as a business owner?
Well, one of them I think would be not growing up in an entrepreneurial environment.
Okay.
Right? And that's something that I've come to realize, that I'm realizing now because I'm here, because we get so many business owners and you know, successful entrepreneurs at Vitolas, especially during the day.
Right.
It's a mentality, is what it is. Being an entrepreneur is a mentality, and it's a very hard one because it's in a lot of cases it involves taking a risk that is not, it's not a for sure thing.
Right.
You know, you're doing something that you hope will work, something that you hopefully are passionate about and feel strongly about, but there's no guarantees. Nobody can tell you for sure if it's going to work or not.
Right.
So,
huge risk.
So not having grown up in an entrepreneurial environment and pursuing business has definitely been a challenge, because there are opportunities that anybody else would jump at that I might have hesitations about, you know, like, oh, but I could lose this and I could lose that.
Yeah.
And everybody else says, yeah, you might. So what?
So what?
Do it anyway.
Life goes on, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a hard attitude to adopt.
So so not growing up in that entrepreneurial mindset or background, how was that for you, kind of adapting and then kind of, you know, later in life adapting to that entrepreneurial mindset? Now you're a business owner, so I'm pretty sure back in the day, you know, you probably didn't see yourself even getting to this point. What changed?
It's funny, and I'm gonna bounce around a little bit, but that takes me back to how we came up for the name, how we came up with the name for this place, Vitolas. Right. That's with an apostrophe S at the end.
Yes.
Vitola apostrophe S. And the word Vitola itself has several meanings, right? Like the band around a cigar that is usually very ornate and people like it and it's pretty and they like to look at it. That's actually called a Vitola.
Really?
Yeah. And now the different sizes of a cigar within a line of cigars are called Vitolas. So let's say you like to smoke the Monte Cristo Classic. Well, there are many sizes of the Monte Cristo Classic. Bellicoso, Robusto, Churchill, Lancero, all of those are different Vitolas. Now, the reason for the apostrophe S in our name is back then you referred to this time. Back then when I still felt like I wanted this business, but it wasn't, when I felt like it wasn't likely to happen, we got this beautiful little German Shepherd puppy.
Okay.
And I said, well, I don't have the business. I didn't feel like I was gonna have it at that point. So I said, let's name the dog Vitola.
Oh, okay.
All right. So a couple of years after, when the business came along, I said, okay, well, we've got to put an apostrophe S and name it after the dog, right? Because she came first. But yeah, it's been. I think a lot of things have kind of led up to me being a business owner, and the majority of it, honestly, is the people around me, my friends, my family, former employers, even. I've talked to you, but I don't know if nobody else knows. But I have my brother and I and my sister were born with bilateral hearing loss. It's congenital. It's something we were born with. We have, pretty significant hearing loss, and that can really affect a person's confidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, when you can't rely on speech, which is how everybody communicates, I think it really gets in the way of pursuing things, of feeling confident about something. But there were times in my life, numerous times, and I'm sure there'll be more, where somebody looked past that and gave me a chance anyway.
Right.
And I don't mind saying the first one was actually Norbert Portillo. Norbert Portillo, I can say a lot of things about him as a boss.
Right.
But I will always be grateful to him because he hired me on as a cook in a kitchen, which if you have a hearing problem, that's probably the last place you want to apply for a job.
Yeah, because you're getting yelled at 24/7,
You're getting yelled at,
right?
and it doesn't matter how loud you're getting yelled at, you probably aren't understanding what's being said. It's chaos back there. A kitchen, especially one like the one at Tabla, where things are done to order, to the specific
standard, yeah.
To the specifics of the customer. People are constantly changing the order,
right?
And that was a very difficult environment for somebody with my my situation, and I think he took as much of a leap as I did, and I'll always be grateful for that.
Cool.
He actually did the same for my brother about a year later.
So you, your brother, and your sister were born with this problem as far as your hearing. So it was a little difficult for you to basically hear. Now, were you like legally deaf, or is that just before? Like, is that
legally deaf? That's a definition, obviously a legal definition that I haven't pursued. I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
I'm not sure that I would qualify as that.
Right.
But the hearing loss is significant, and it makes it hard. In fact, I think that might be part of the reason why I'm drawn to the environment that we've created here at Vitolas. Is because there was a lot more face-to-face going on, and not so much everybody talking at once.
Exactly.
And that for me is more difficult. Like in a nightclub environment, if there's several people all sharing a story and all shooting shit, if you will, that's a lot harder for me to keep up with, because I have to look at everybody while they're talking. So I'm bouncing around trying to figure out what's going on, and that's more difficult. But here at Vitolas it's easier for me, and I think it's easier for me for the same reasons that I think more people should come here.
Right.
And that's face-to-face, one-on-one, intimate, wholesome conversations where you leave the place actually having learned something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but that's definitely been a challenge, not only in my pursuit of business, but in every aspect of life. So I'm grateful for all those people who have been patient with me, who gave me a shot like Norbert did, and so in spite of that, here we are, and we're not done. We're still growing.
Yeah, and that's an amazing story. Somebody dealing with those obstacles as a business owner. Dealing with those obstacles that I know for sure, those things can get a lot of people down. In life, and especially what you said, having those issues, it messed a lot with your confidence too, and the way you talk to people and the way you handled yourself. So I think that's definitely for everybody listening, everybody watching. That kind of just shows what can be done if you really just put your mind to it. And like you said, you grew up without that mentality. You didn't grow up in an entrepreneurial background. You didn't have that business mindset. You were dealt with issues, and you basically overcame them. And you know, just like any other person, you didn't let that stop you from attaining and becoming a business owner. So
Yeah, and I certainly didn't do it alone. I mean, I've got a lot of people to thank for it. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it was only me. I definitely have relied on, you know, like I said earlier, my family. My older brother Jaime did a lot to kind of fan that flame to give me the confidence to pursue it, and the help too. He continues to help me to this day. He knows a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to sell cigars and whiskey. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, the accounting and all that stuff. Hey, Jaime.
he does that.
Yeah.
He does. Talk to us a little bit about what is your perfect environment or perfect day for smoking a cigar. What does a perfect day look like for you? You know, to kind of say like, you know what, today is a cigar day. What makes it a cigar day?
Well, to be honest with you, it probably happens more often than that. I would love, ideally, I would smoke a cigar every day. And for me, it's kind of it's a treat, a reward. So
Nice.
if I have a really busy morning planned,
Yeah.
I would try to get all my work done as fast as I can, and then I'll treat myself with a cigar.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that the morning time for me is the best time to smoke a cigar. And there's some good physical reasons for it too. You tend to taste things better in the morning before you've had a lot of food to eat.
Yeah, your palate's fresh,
yeah.
right?
And for me, you know, I tend to taste the cigars better before I've been smelling everyone else's cigar throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I feel like I pick up on those little nuances better in the morning than I do in the evening. Yeah, it's just any day is a good day for a cigar, really. The only thing that I try to avoid is using a cigar to feel better about some stressful situation, because personally I feel like I'm missing out on the enjoyment of that cigar. I would rather smoke a cigar on a high than on a low.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. So it's not so much of a low to bring you back up. It's more of a, you're already high, enjoy the high.
Oh yeah, it
you
takes, you know, if you're on a high, it takes you up a notch.
Even higher, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what would you say is your perfect pairing or combo when it comes down to a cigar, a good cigar, and a good glass of whiskey or cognac? What is a good pair for you?
All right, so that one gets, and I'm worried now that I won't have a straight answer for you this whole time.
There's too many.
This whole time, yeah, no, it's like everything is a complex response, right? But for me, I prefer contrast, right? So what I mean by that, if I'm smoking a cigar that is generally sweet, I want a spicy whiskey to go with it.
Okay.
If I'm smoking a cigar that's really spicy, I might drink a wheated bourbon, for example, like a Weller 12 or even a Maker's Mark. So I like contrast, because for me, when I do that, each puff of the cigar and each sip of the whiskey tastes like the first one.
Okay.
But a lot of guys like to complement their cigar with the whiskey. So if they're smoking a fuller bodied, sweeter cigar, they want a fuller bodied, sweet whiskey to go with it.
Right.
Right. So it just depends. But I personally, I like contrast.
You like contrast. Cool. Mm-hmm. The times that we have actually been here and played dominoes, we always try and get a cognac or whiskey that will go good with a cigar, just because I think it kind of amplifies that experience a little bit more too.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
giving you the nice, smooth relaxedness of a glass of whiskey, and that still that aroma. And enjoying that taste of that cigar too, you know. So I think they really.
And what's cool is that when you do that, you probably, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but you probably drink less than you would if you were at some nightclub only drinking.
Only drinking, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because first it keeps your other hand busy, right? So you've got a cigar in one mouth, maybe you're drinking the other, and so you're taking a puff of your cigar and maybe a little sip after that.
Yeah.
And as long as you approach it from the standpoint of taste, I want to taste this. I want to taste what the whiskey does to the cigar and what the cigar does to the whiskey. then you're not likely to abuse it. You're not likely to start doing shots. You know.
Yeah.
You want a little sip after your puff to see the kind of magic that happens in your mouth.
And for those of you that haven't smoked cigars, I mean, I've had this experience where it's just pretty relaxing. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience, especially after a long day or especially after celebrating. So I definitely like cigars. I like pairing, especially with some whiskey, just because I love whiskey. You know, whiskey is probably one of my favorite drinks, my go-to drink, especially for some lunchtime action. But yeah, so talking about, you know, Vitola's down here, the location, you know, you have a pretty good location here in downtown El Paso. What is the location like for you being a business owner out here?
It's a challenge. To tell you the truth, I think being downtown is it can be difficult. There's this assumption that being this close to the ballpark is going to be great for business, but actually the ballpark can present some challenges, particularly for my regular customers. And, that's because of how much the parking situation has changed too.
So parking during Chihuahua's games is kind of an issue or problem for you?
It's a big issue. I mean, my parking situation is already not ideal. I have a couple of spots available behind our building, and after 5, when the neighbors leave, I have a few more. I might have a total of 5 spots back there. And aside from that, you know, there's a parking lot that's owned by somebody else that, you know, you got to pay $5 to park there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're considering coming down and you do have to pay those $5, I would keep in mind that, you know, you're paying the $5 for what ought to be a 2 or 3 hour experience.
Yeah.
And we will do everything we can to make sure that it's worth more than the $5 you had to pay in parking.
Right.
I think you'll leave this place maybe enlightened on cigar and whiskey.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll leave relaxed. You'll leave, you know, in a great mood, especially if you come with some good company. It's a great place for a date, guys and girls. Come on over. But yeah, I think we're still kind of in a city where it's not widely accepted to have to pay for parking to go where you want to go.
That's so true.
And I think if we get there, we're going to be fine. But it is a challenge because, you know, those 70 or 71 Chihuahuas home games in a year.
Wow.
And so for those 71 nights, my regulars have a hard time getting here.
So your regulars kind of stay away.
Yeah, they do, because it's crowded down here. There's nowhere to park.
Yeah.
And so this is a shout out for all those people that even on a night like that, make the effort, pay for the parking to come on down anyway. I really appreciate the support.
Yeah, so if you do go to a Chihuahua's game, season just started, I know. So stop by. You paid $5. You're probably gonna be stuck in parking anyways, right?
Yeah.
Leaving, so might as well come on in, have a glass of whiskey, and get a cigar, and you know, enjoy the experience. So
I do want to add that on the night of a game, the parking is more than $5. All right, I don't want to mislead anybody here.
Yeah.
But, so on the night of a game, the parking is more than $5. I don't own that parking lot, but on every other night, even if you have to pay the $5, plan on being here for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm sure you'll agree it's worth it.
Full disclosure, so it might be a little bit more than $5, but it's all good. Make that experience worth it. You guys check out a Chihuahuas game. They're literally right here across of Chihuahua Stadium, right?
Yes.
You guys are facing the
Santa
right
Fe
side
entrance.
Yeah, the Santa Fe entrance, which is the right side of the field in the Chihuahua Stadium, right behind the Big Dog seating area, that VIP area that they have. So if you guys are watching the game, make sure you guys stop by Vitola's, get you a cigar, and, you know, enjoy the environment that they have here. So real quick question for you: what is one of the most unique things that Vitola's offers?
The most unique thing that Vitola offers, you know what? I think it's conversation.
I like that.
Ease of conversation, because there's more than enough loud sports bars and nightclubs and stuff out there, but a place where really the whole goal and the whole point of being here is to sit across from somebody and talk to that person.
Right.
I think that's what makes us unique. So it's it can be, peaceful and quiet to the point that it approaches a library environment, but there's no, you don't have to whisper and be quiet, and so I think that's what makes it unique, because we don't have enough of that, especially in our generation.
Right.
Everything is about being on your phone and texting and Facebook messaging. And here, I feel like you kind of travel back in time. So
You do. I feel that. I
Yeah.
actually feel that. Even the first time I got here, one of my buddies, he's a firefighter, a chief in the fire station, brought him out here, introduced him to this place. And when he brought me, I was like, why don't people know about this place? Like, why isn't it more packed? Because I think, especially people being from El Paso, they do want that big city feel, but they don't want the big city
problems.
The parking is always going to be one.
Yeah.
Out in Florida, I remember, parking anywhere close to downtown, or in the entire month of March. March is spring break out there, from the 1st to the end of the month. So parking anywhere was $40 to $100.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, So $5 to $10, it's not so bad, especially with, all the things that are coming to El Paso. I think right now the city is really focusing a lot of money, and a lot of the plans that they're focusing are in downtown, and you have it in the east side, you have a little bit in Horizon, you have some west side growth, you have it all over the city. So we have to adapt. We're gonna have to adapt.
And we gotta get used to walking 3-4 blocks.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's probably a lot of us need it.
You asked me earlier about my ideal day for a cigar, and I'm gonna change that a little bit and talk about my ideal night out. For example, with my wife, I don't get a night out with her often enough. But for those of you who are in a relationship or married, pay the $5 parking within walking distance. You have fabulous restaurants.
Yes.
You've got Answer 11, you've got Pulp Tavern, I'm a huge fan of. You've got Delight, soups and sandwiches right down the street. And by the way, Delight
Craft
will
and
actually
social.
deliver food here. You can
really?
eat here. We don't serve food.
Okay.
But you can eat here if you want to. And for me, that would be an ideal date. Pay the $5 parking. You walk down. You have a nice dinner someplace. You walk on over to Vitola's. You have a cigar and a stiff whiskey drink to kind of settle your stomach. It's a great digestif. And I think it can be the highlight of any day.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people do want, different. They want businesses that are coming that are different and offer that like I said, that big city feel. And there's actually a lot of that here in downtown that people don't even know is here. Palace is one of those cool places I've been to. They have some really good sushi, and it's a really nice experience right across from San Blasito. Problems that you did face, with your hearing problem. What is one message that you would give, to somebody either watching or listening or on here live on Facebook? What's that one message that you would give to that person that's dealing with that same thing? Is dealing with something that in their life had no control of, but it's kind of hindering hindering that confidence that you said you kind of struggled with. What's that one message that you have for that person viewing and dealing with that same situation?
Well, my message is that what do you have to lose, right? Because in the hard of hearing community, there's already a problem with chronic underachievement. So there are people who have talents and who have abilities that just aren't expressing them because they don't have they don't find the opportunity.
Right.
So for anybody out there who is hard of hearing that is even considering, or you think you have a good idea, just do it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds so cliche, but it's there's no reason not to. And once you get past the point of caring what people think about how you speak, and the fact that they think you're dumb because you missed a punchline in a joke, that stuff, you have to get to the point where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And just go for it. If there's anybody out there who is listening or struggling to listen, right, that wants to talk about it, and that could be a very, very long conversation, but please come on down to Vitola. Even if you're not buying anything, I would love to meet more people who are facing those kind of struggles. Come on down.
That's awesome. So Definitely a positive message, coming from you, a business owner who's gone through a lot to get to where you're at. To own, you walked us through the business and you walked us
I'm
through.
sorry to interrupt you, Manny, but I do want to add one more thing.
Yes.
To that potential employer who might be, even if they're not doing it outwardly, but who might be thinking, oh, I've got this applicant who talks funny, who has a hearing problem. I promise you, that person will likely be a harder worker than anybody else who doesn't have a problem, because they know they have to try harder to gain their acceptance, to keep that job. So if you're an employer, business owner who sees an application and either they tell you or you find out that they're hard of hearing, give them a shot. I think you'll be pleased.
That's deep. I think that message is obviously for somebody else, business owner. But yeah, I think what you talked about is true, and that's something that a lot of people don't deal with. But what it's like. You as a business owner know what it's like to apply for that job and be looked at just because of the way you're talking or the way you're listening. So definitely, I mean, a positive message for everybody, coming from, Fernando, somebody that's dealt with a lot of controversy, somebody that, has made it to this point where you're a business owner now in El Paso, contributing back to the city, and that's something to definitely be proud of. So hats off to you. I mean, you've come a long way, and I'm super excited to hear your story. And what you've really done, and accomplished, not just in owning a business, but getting to where you've gotten. It's really cool to hear a story like that, and I'm sure a lot of people, listening or watching can relate to what you went through and what you're going through and what you've, how you got to this point. So I'm glad we connected, man.
Thank you, man.
I really appreciate you taking the time. I want to end, obviously I'm a real estate agent, and I love talking real estate. So I just want to end the podcast, kind of just talking a little bit, switching gears now, a little bit about what is your favorite thing or place here in El Paso. What's your favorite restaurant or thing to do here in the city that you just can't get enough of?
Oh, and I told you I wouldn't give you a straight answer ever tonight. And that one's tough because I think I kind of approach food the same way I approach cigars.
Okay.
It's like, okay, well, what mood am I in? What do I feel like eating in? And there's certain things I really want to highlight downtown itself. And I'll go back to mentioning some of the places I did already. Anson 11 is a great place to eat. They make this like a fondue. That's one of my favorite cheese dishes. I love the fondue there. I'm a sucker for the fried oyster, the Pub Tavern.
Nice.
I eat lunch at from Delight a couple of times a week at least. I love Delight. I like the support that Jose Delight has shown us. And but I mean, I love food. It's hard to pick one dish.
Yeah. So you're at these places weekly. This is like a weekly thing.
Yeah,
almost.
I don't eat out a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I treat it the same way as I do the cigars. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go all out.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to a place and just order from the lunch menu because it's a quick meal or I'm on a budget.
Yeah.
I just want to go out. If I can't go to a place and order the dish that I want, I'll stay home.
Yeah. You might as well just cook, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool deal. Well, Fernando, again, thank you so much. For you guys listening again, we're here at Vitola's out here in downtown El Paso. And if you guys are in the area or you do come to downtown, catch a Chihuahuas game, make sure you guys stop by Vitola's and grab a cigar, have a conversation with Fernando. He's a good guy. And he'll definitely recommend you guys some good whiskey as well to match that cigar. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast. And Fernando, any closing statements, anything you want to say?
Just come on down, guys. Get over here. You'll enjoy it. I promise.
Sounds good, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. See you guys next week.